My name's Jared, for those of you that were in the previous session. So I work for Google from the sales team and YouTube on the partnerships team. No one else wanted to do this, so I got lumbered with this one. This is a hard one, or there's a lot of different techniques, there's a lot of different ways of website optimization, and I think it's very important. In fact, I think that in South Africa, I deal with a lot of big clients, spend a lot of money, and you can do fantastic work from an AdWords point of view or from any digital channel point of view of driving relevant traffic, right? Relevant, cheap traffic, awesome. That's a big part, but then the next part is, well, how do you convert that traffic? When you're looking at CPA, lead generation type of business, and your ROI is super important to you, this can be make or break. And being nimble, and if there's one thing to remember, I'm all about, in these presentations we give off a lot of information, but there's generally one or two things you need to remember. If there's one thing you need to remember with website optimization, it's very simple. Test. Just test. Test it. There are a whole bunch of assumptions out there. There are a whole bunch of techniques out there. There's a whole bunch of stuff. You need to create a website in a way that you are nimble to test and have A/B testing, multivariate testing, and that's the only way you'll learn, because one thing will work for you and that same thing won't work for someone else. Before I joined Google, I was at an international agency, and we were doing website optimization for a loans company. And we changed the lead form. I always find this staggering, but we changed the lead form color from a darker green to a 3 shades lighter green. And our conversion went up 30%. Our conversion rates went up 30%. That was the only thing we changed. Google, those sponsored links, the colors of the sponsored links, the green and the blue, you don't know how many iterations of that color have changed based on performance. So if there's one thing that I can say to you guys is whatever I say to you today, whatever's out there, you will only know if you test. That's the truth, the Holy Grail. So with that being said, and one thing on the test is don't test too many things at once. Okay? Don't make a bunch of changes and then go, oh, it worked. Make small changes, make them in isolation, and you'll know exactly what's working and what's not. Cool. So the disclaimer for this session is that the stuff that we say may or may not work. See, I led you in there to that. Cool. So 10 kind of the big 10 in terms of landing pages that work. Confirmation, speed, first impressions, branding and site purpose, design, visuals, text, call to action, value proposition, and lastly, persuasion. And I'll take you through each one. Confirmation. So we talk about in AdWords, one of the big things is making sure you're sending people to the right landing page. If I'm searching for running shoes, send me directly to a running shoes page. If you can, include the headline of the actual ad in the headline or the main headline of your landing page. That's called dynamic serving, which is fantastic, and it helps from a conversion point of view. But the more confirmation that a user has that they're in the right place, the better, right? So make sure if you have any promises in your ad, if the ad's got a special in it, an offer in it, that it's very much presented on the landing page. That's how someone came in on your page. So make sure you confirm exactly what you're saying. Speed. No one's got time. People have got less time. Loading page speed, huge thing. Huge thing. If the guys that are using analytics, best tool that Google's made by far. You can measure your site speed on there. More than 3 seconds, okay? Now, I understand we're in an environment where bandwidth's not always with us, but you need to create your websites in a way that they're as nimble as possible, and you need to monitor your load speed time. That will have a determinant on your actual conversions and whether people are actually willing to be on your site. First impressions, right? We all know about this. If I go to a scrappy website and I see images that are a bit pixelated, everything's a bit cluttered, I don't want to be there. You know, the standards have been set. I know what's good. You know what's good. You know, it's just like a normal social interaction. If someone looks good, you meet them, they're clean, they're well-spoken, well-presented, they make a good impression on you. First impressions are super quick. If you don't make a good impression immediately, you're gone. So, obviously, keep that in mind. And another thing that, maybe the second thing that you can remember or take out of this is put your user hat on, put your customer hat on when you go through the website and landing page optimization process. But really though, like, you know, maybe ask a good friend of yours, ask someone who's got no association to you because you'll always be biased. But ask someone to go through the process and get their honest feedback. You know, generally most of the stuff that's wrong with the site will come out there. So I think this is really important. Site purpose, okay? Site purpose, it's like, think of your landing page or your home page as an elevator pitch. That 30-second elevator pitch. I need to know exactly what your website and your landing page is talking about in the first 30 seconds. It needs to be clear. If there's ambiguity, if you're not telling me exactly what you're about and what it is and why I should care, then you're making me think. I don't know if anyone's read in this audience a website optimization book called Don't Make Me Think. I see one hand over there. It's a really, really good book. People don't want to think. I often say to some of my advertisers, the difference between profit and losses can be the difference between 1 to 2 clicks. Make the process and the journey simple, and make sure that your branding and your purpose is very much prominent. You know, having a logo, having the right color contrast, having a very simplified value proposition statement. You know, and you've got to think about these things. You need to know this yourself. If you don't know this, the customer won't know this. Right? Design. Now, UX and UI design is really hot right now. It's a big industry. You know, we moved away from this industry for a while where, you know, web development and all this kind of stuff was really important. Now we've moved back to UX and UI. If you're in America and you're a top-notch UX or UI designer, you are a rock star. Now, why do I say that? Is people's expectations have really, really increased. These guys know how to create an environment that you have space and that it's clear and that it's beautiful and aesthetic, and these things matter. You know, even from a lead generation point of view, these things matter. You know, high quality images, you know, showing your ads above the fold, making sure that everything's in the right place. When we talk about e-commerce, where should your cart be? You know, top right. Everyone knows your cart must be top right. Why? I don't know who decided on that, but we all know that it's there. You know, if yours isn't there, well, then you don't have one. You know, don't make me think. That's the idea. Cluttered websites annoy me. You know, I really cannot stand clutter. I'm one of those ADD type of people where, you know, I don't know what I'm looking at and I get all confused and then I leave. You know, the use of white space is becoming very, very, very important. There's another concept called containment. So containment meaning put your form in a little, you know, make it contained so that people know where to place certain things. If you just leave it open, too much white space, so containment came with white space, too much white space means, well, I can't box anything here, I don't know where it is. But subtle, nice containment really works. So design is really important. I'll leave you with a couple websites to go and look up and to read about. And there's so much information out there on this. So again, visuals. Now, I think if you think about general websites, you generally land on a website and there's this big image in front of you. And that is prime real estate, okay? Think of your website in terms of prime real estate. What is most important to you on a website? Obvious, above the fold, right? As someone comes in, the first thing they see, that's your prime real estate. A lot of websites, they have these big images. They're generally not clickable, which is blasphemy. It's absolute blasphemy. You're telling me that out of 75% of your 100% of prime real estate, you've got an image that I don't care about, that I can't take any action on. You've lost. You've potentially lost a lot of business. You know, those kind of images, what's working really well at the moment is, images that rotate across images, having forms in the image, having a click button in the image, visuals with people using your product, expressing emotion. If you just see a product with no type of association of feeling or anything like that, you want to imagine yourself on that luxurious holiday. You know what I mean? You want to see you and your family on a beach eating lobster, or whatever the case is. You want to see that. You want to see it in action. So capturing people's imagination and allowing them to take easy action, that's the kind of way you need to be thinking. Text. So I think a lot of people have fallen into the trap of, of visuals and big visuals and high quality image, because it's also been a bit of an evolution in terms of websites. And text has its place, right? It not only has its place from an SEO point of view. Remember, if you create an image and there's no text in that image, and your website is your homepage, which is your main page, is a bunch of images with no text, Google doesn't know what that is. It's very important. Having supporting text allows Google to obviously index you, and allows people, whatever percentage they are, I know I'm an image person, but whatever percentage they are, it allows them to read. People also want to be able to read, and you need to give people the choice. Not too much information, because people don't have time, but enough information so that they can feel comfortable to make a decision. So text, very important. Using big headlines. You think of like the traditional way newspapers and print do things. Big headline, supporting statement, and supporting text. And I'll show you an example of what I think really works. Bullet points work fantastic. If you've got like 3 to 5 bullet points that can explain things of what you do, awesome. If you've got those bullet points, and if you click on those bullet points and there's a drop down of more information, you've taken up less space and given more. And that's what you want to be thinking. And it's great for search engines. Call to action. We love this word, call to action. So your call to action is very important. And I was saying to you, like in the testing and stuff that I was involved in, we used to change the color of the button and the font and the placement, and whether there was a TNC's link below it, and whether there was a supporting statement, whether we needed 2, whether we needed 3. Your call to action is very important. And you need to place it in the right places. It's like crazy. We've seen guys that are spending so much money, driving people to websites, and their call to action is literally below the fold. And like that's, again, blasphemy. Color contrasts. Guys not using color contrasts. Very, very important for a call to action. Your call to action button, and it's generally best to have it as a button. Why? I don't know. I'm just used to seeing it as a button. It should have contrast, and it should have the right color contrast. Red. What does red mean in your life? Stop. Maybe passion, but more stop, I think. Green means nurture, go, eco-friendly. Different shades of green mean different things. Dark green, maybe I'm in a bad mood. People have association to color, and you need to think about the color very, very importantly. And the color contrast you use in call to actions, you need to think about. Value proposition. This is like marketing 101 stuff. You've got to think as a business, or sometimes you have to think for the business you represent, what their value proposition is, which I find also interesting at times. Why should I care? I've got a lot of options out there. People use the internet for comparison and research, a hell of a lot. You need to tell me why it's important for me to use you against all the options that I have. I've got a lot of options. A clear and concise value proposition, it's very, very important. Making sure you're very clear in terms of you deliver in 24 hours. No one else does that. Your shipment is free. No one else does that. You have a guarantee returns policy. No one else does that. Awesome. That's the difference between me choosing you or looking around. And by me looking around, you've lost 20 to 30% of that business. Now, persuasion, right? So we need to, as marketers, we're in the game of persuasion. You tell me what I need. I don't always know what I need. You tell me what I need. I think a very good technique is reciprocation. We're often asking people for information. We're asking them to do certain things. The reciprocation process is really cool. It's like, if you do this, you can get something back. You've got to be careful, though, with that, because, then people start to expect things from you. So there's a fine line. Continuously promising something all the time means the value that I see in you and your brand is because you give me free stuff. As soon as you stop giving me free stuff, I don't see the value in you. So you need to, there's a balance between that. Showing commitment. So money back guarantees. Guarantee is a big thing. We've done some recent research, and guys that are in the retail e-commerce industry say that trust and authenticity are one of the big barriers to e-commerce in South Africa. People don't trust a lot of websites online. So if you can show third-party verification, SSL certificates, information's protected in the TNCs, guarantees, using authenticated credit card providers, that goes a long way. We're not very much in a trusting environment at the moment, so you need to negate that in some way. Social proof. What better way than if someone else says it was awesome? I think we see through a lot of testimonials these days, so you've got to be a little bit smarter. I think things that are done well is, a guy put a screen grab of the number of people that liked his Facebook fan page. So he had 100,000 people liked it, and just part of and people like us too had a Facebook feed and a screen grab of that, meaning, geez, well, if a lot of people are active and liking it, it must be good. Social proof, recommendations. You in your personal environment take people's recommendations to heart, so you just got to think of how you can incorporate that. Scarcity, one of the oldest tricks in the book, eh? Limited, only 15 left, going like hotcakes. 24 hours left. One of the Groupon models based on scarcity. Showing authority. That you, from an authoritative source, you've been approved by a standards association. You've got, if you've been certified with Google, or you're certified with TripAdvisor, you're certified with, whoever, certification and authority goes a long way in terms of trust. And framing, I'm not actually sure too much what that is. Okay. So that's a summary list of that. I'm going to take you through another deck on conversion optimization. Actually, I'll take questions at the end. I think before I get into this, so there are a couple resources out there that I think are fantastic. And again, I can say a lot of stuff to you today, and the one thing I want you to remember is that if you're not testing this stuff, you're not going to know. There are principles. We'll make these decks available to you as checklists, so you can go through this yourself. Then there's some resources out there that you can do your own learnings on. One in particular that I found is really, really good. It's called Unbounce. UNBOUNCE, Unbounce. They have got brilliant, brilliant articles on website optimization, design. They offer a product themselves for website optimization that one of my clients has used, and they've had terrific results. You know, Google Analytics blog, a lot on website conversion. You know, so another one is KISS Metrics Insight, also excellent. Conversion University, ROI Revolution blog. You know, I'm just naming these because, you know, like, I don't want to just talk at you today. You know, the way that I've learned and the way that a lot of people learn is just by going onto articles and reading. It's not rocket science. It's really not. Cool. Conversions at work. Disclaimer. The stuff that I might tell you today may or may not work. Batteries not included. Cool. So we've got the big 10 again. Visible basket, optional registration, very important. Short forms, very important. Shorter forms, very important. Transparent steps, quarantine checkouts, reinforced selling points, transparent costs, secure pages, and conversion follow-up, which is very important. Visible baskets. If you're in e-commerce, if you're not on the top right and you're not telling me what's in my basket, who of you use CompuTicket? Do you enjoy your experience on CompuTicket? It is the worst website ever, and it's so important to us, poor South Africans. Their basket is not on the top right of their website. It's in the middle left somewhere. I mean, honestly, it's absolutely shocking. Besides the fact that it crashes anytime there's a major event, they're clearly prepared. Sorry, I think you also have this emotional feeling towards them. Visible baskets, top right. Very simple. If you're global, have different currencies. Have the option to choose different currencies. Make that very simple. Optional registration, I think that's a really good one. I know that I've left websites many times, even though I was interested, because they wanted me to register. I have. And I hear that. I think people feel the same. You know, there's a concept in business called the minimal viable product, or in tech business called minimal viable product, which means you need to get to the market with the bare basics, right? Now, there's an option in an idea in conversion, minimal viable information. So you don't always need everyone's information immediately, and give someone the option not to register, to carry on through the process, and maybe they've enjoyed the experience and let them register afterwards. You know, if they can't register immediately, you're losing a fair amount of business. Long forms are the worst, right? Long forms, terrible. No one has time for long forms. Use the bare pieces of information you need to follow up with what you need to do. You know, you can always trim down, believe it or not. Intuitive forms. You know, I think a good piece out of this one is to explain why you need the information that you need. Sometimes, you know, if you're asking me for my ID, I want to know why you're asking me for my ID. Why do you need my ID? Is there a specific reason? You can have it as a little piece of information or hover over with a question mark saying, we require your ID because X, Y, and Z, and then I feel okay because, you know, you're not using my ID to sell to some life insurance provider who's going to phone me, you know? So people, when you start asking for that kind of personal information, people in South Africa, maybe less so overseas because, you know, it's a more developed environment, but people don't want to share a lot of private information like that. Pre-population of forms, that works well. Forms that basically pre-populate or give an example text before you fill it in so that I know exactly what I need to do next. Drop-downs that work, drop-downs that don't get stuck. Who of you have been on the SAA website? You enjoy that experience? Shocking, absolutely shocking. The calendar form, in order for me to select my itinerary, barely works. So, that kind of experience is horrific, right? So just make sure that your form is smooth. An adverse example to fly SAA, have you guys been on the Travel Start website? Now that's a nice experience, right? Nice white space, very open, good color contrast. It feels smooth. I enjoy the process. Transparent steps. This works really well. Basically telling me, what are the steps that I'm going to partake on. People want to know before they start giving you information, how long is this going to take? I don't have time. What are the steps? Don't keep asking me for more stuff if I don't know if I'm nearly there. A lot of people are getting smart about gamifying this process, making it a game, making it exciting. A little pop-up comes, oh, you're nearly there, just a little bit less and you can have this, or, making it a level type of story, or, if that's where you want to go. I'm not necessarily saying it works, but what I'm saying is people want to know what the process is, what the steps are, where they are in that journey, and you can almost reinforce certain messages along that. In step 3, and if you're using Google Analytics, you're able to see what the drop-off process is from part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4. In part 3 that there's a massive drop-off, right? Now you need to think, what can you do in part 3 to curb that? Reinforce your value, reinforce why they're making the decision. Tell them they're nearly there. You've got to look at your conversion funnel. That's very, very important. So part of that is a quarantine checkout. Quarantine checkout, it sounds bad, but basically it's don't distract someone through the process. Don't give them too many options to go elsewhere. I think we're all a bit ADD these days. So much information flying around. And, just make the environment, the checkout process as concentrated as possible. Always give someone a choice to go somewhere. Don't completely quarantine someone, because then they'll be like, what's going on here? But don't have too many distractions. So again, like I said, reinforcing your selling points. People need to be reassured. I know when I'm purchasing like a big product, like a TV, or I wouldn't buy a cell phone, but things with value, I need to be reassured. I get nervous when I have to spend a lot of money. I get nervous if I sign into a contract or a subscription. Am I making the right decision? You need to reinforce me. You need to reinforce me on the website and through the process. You're making the right choice. Again, on this slide, delivering things like guarantees, I think is really important. There's risk associated with making a transaction. How do you curb that risk? If I know that I'm buying shoes, buy shoes from Zappos. If you can read up about a company that e-commerce-wise delivers services, you should read about Zappos. If I'm buying shoes from Zappos and I'm not sure that these are the right things, but I know that there's a 100% return guarantee, I'll buy those shoes. And because Zappos is confident in their product, I'll continue to buy from them because they'll deliver. Something like that. Transparent costs, very important. A lot of this still happens in South Africa where you think you know the price, but you don't. Right? You get to that final part, you click, yes, I'm ready, and then you see, oh, what? VAT, 14%, shipping costs, 15%. That's not 700, it's now 1,200. It's a different I didn't buy this for 1,200, I bought it for 700. Okay? You know, making sure that your costs are transparent is super, super important. You know, people, you don't want to trick people and people come in at that price, and people are very, very, in this day and age, price sensitive. Secure pages, you know, these are for maybe the advanced kind of guy, especially someone who's, you know, aware of their cookies, aware of their browser. But, you know, people want to know that the pages are encrypted and that you're on a secure page and the information is protected. If they're giving you credit card information, credit card fraud, you know, it's big. Credit card fraud is a big business. People are aware of it. So you need to make sure that you are, you know, curbing that anxiety. Conversion follow-up. I think this is a really, really good one. People often think that the thank you page is the end. You can do a lot at the end of that conversion process. Maybe asking the person, okay, now that you've done this, why don't you check this out? A lot of affiliate websites do this really, really well. So like I've been lulled into buying certain books and products through affiliate sites, and you know when you're on an affiliate site, you know, and you buy it and it's like fantastic, and you've just got this product and you're feeling good about yourself, and then you've completed the process, and then it's like, well, you'll get another 50% discount for something like this, which if you like that, you'll definitely like this, and it's only for a limited time. Oh, now what do I do? Are we playing poker? Is he bluffing me? Is it true? 50% of the time, people will go for it. It's another 50% of business that you just got that you wouldn't have got. So, you know, the conversion follow-up's important. Getting people's email information. You enjoy the experience, let us email you about promotions and special offers to up to date with what we're doing. Yeah, so that's not the end. Your conversion page is not the end. Cool, I've got 3 minutes, so that's a summary list again. And, you know, if there was one thing that you can leave with, test this stuff out. You know, the smallest detail you will not believe can make a difference. And good luck on your website optimization journeys. Thank you.